On the Wall is brought to you by Milton King, the trusted partner for exquisitely crafted luxury wall coverings. Milton King's trade program is designed to make your creative process seamless, providing special trade-only benefits including complimentary sampling, early access to new collections, and exclusive pricing structured to enhance your business success. To assist with your projects, you'll have the flexibility to curate your own custom swatchbook, tailored specifically to your design needs. With dedicated customer support every step of the way, our trade program is here to elevate your design vision and simplify your journey from inspiration to installation. Ready to join a partner who understands your craft? Visit miltonandking.com to apply for your trade account today. Milton and King, your vision, our craftsmanship. Welcome to Milton and King's On the Wall podcast, where we engage in conversations with artists, designers, and more. Today we speak with TV personality and owner of the Design Quad, Nikki Watson. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe and consider leaving us a rating and review. Hey, Nikki.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going good.
It's Friday.
It's Friday, yes. It's
Happy Friday.
Ready to see what the weekend holds.
What's on the agenda for today?
Today, I have some friends here from New York, some designer friends. So, Robin, he's still here from last week. So today's his last day. So we're gonna take him to see some more sights in Dallas, and then he's off.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you've always been from Dallas, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so born and raised.
Born and raised.
Are you like in the city, or are you on the outskirts or Fort Worth or?
So I grew up in the city in Southeast Dallas, and now I live out in the suburbs. So I'm about 45 minutes away from Dallas.
Okay, gotcha.
Now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dallas is a very spread out city, it seems. Like people say Dallas, but it's really all the sort of little suburbs on the outside that people probably still consider Dallas. It's very like you can be driving for a while and you're still in Dallas.
Yes, that's true. You can be from all kinds of cities. You're like, that's not Dallas. Oh yeah, it's considered. Well, we say North Texas when we're here, so it's
which is
either
a big
Dallas,
area.
Fort Worth side, but it's just huge.
Yeah. Were you always into the design world in the Dallas community? Was that always something that you have always been a part of there?
Not really. I started kind of getting into it when I started a job. I worked for a flooring company. So I was a flooring sales rep for about 10 years, and that's kind of where I started to learn more about the design world. And then that it was even a job. I was always kind of doing it for people for free.
Oh, really?
So, yes, I was, they'd say, hey, Nikki, come over and help me with my living room. I need some help. And I would just go and do it. And I never thought that this was a real thing to do for work.
Yeah.
But
So how
then
did they know that you had that sensibility?
people would see my house, so they would come over to my
Okay.
apartment and be like, "Oh my God, this is so cute," or something I would do for somebody else, and then they were like, "Oh, you have to come help me." My mom had me taking down wallpaper and texturing this bathroom one time, and she was like, "I know you can do it." And I was like, "How do you know? How do you know I can do it?"
So you
Um,
don't just have the sense of style, but you actually are handy.
yes, I can actually do the work. The
Okay.
flooring company kind of taught me that, making sure that you have all of the aspects, like how to measure the floor, and you watch the installers, and when they're messing up. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what kind of taught me that the physical side of it.
Gotcha. So so you said that the flooring company was your first like design job. What was your job before that?
I just had random jobs. I've done a lot of customer service. I worked for
Uh-huh.
Hilton Corporate. I did, a little bit of work for a law firm. So I never was satisfied with things. Like I would get bored easily, and I
Okay.
know now why, because this is where I was supposed to be. But I never was. If I was working for a company, if it wasn't really stimulating, I would get bored really fast, and it
Mm-hmm.
repetitive work just is not for me. So I just couldn't do the same thing over and over.
So how did you, when you were kind of doing all these other jobs, how did you go to the flooring business? Like what made you go, oh, I think I want to get into.
So I was working for a company that it was kind of like a warehouse kind of job, and I was doing working in the office, and my daughter had a surgery. I have a set of twins, and one of the twins had a surgery at Scottish Rite Hospital, and I told my supervisor that day, I was like, hey, I need to be off tomorrow because my daughter is having this surgery on her foot. And she's like, "Oh, no problem, no problem, whatever." And up until this point, I didn't really even miss work, but this they're pretty rigid because the turnover is high. So I went to my daughter's surgery, came back the next day. They let me work all day, and then she said, "You were a call, no show yesterday. I have to let you go." I was like, "What?"
Uh,
I was like, That is not true. I told you that I was going to be out because of my daughter." And they were like, "Yeah, well." The supervisors or whoever said that we have to let you go. So I was off work for about, I'd say about a month. And I was like, I don't want to go to that kind of job again. Let me
mm-hmm.
look. I looked on Craigslist for, another job. And I found this ad in the on Craigslist, and it said flooring company needs help. They needs like some marketing help. And I was like, I've never done marketing before. I think that'd be pretty interesting. And I
Hmm.
went and applied, and I just immediately fell in love with this company. They had a lot of their principles lined up with my principles. It was instantly a match. And I probably would still be there if I didn't start staging, but I love this company like a lot. I love the people there. And that's kind of where I found my calling because it was marketing. I was out in the field. It wasn't like a 9 to 5 job. They pretty much made me feel like I was running their whole department, which I was. They didn't ask me where their money was being spent, where I was going every day. It was like I was a independent contractor working for a company and building their business. And that's kind of the entrepreneurial side of me grew then.
Hmm. So, and little did you know that that would lead to everything that you've done now. I guess everything's like that in some ways. Everything leads to the next thing.
That's right.
But that opened the door to the whole interiors world to you in a new
Yes,
way.
it did.
How now you said something about principles. What principles are those?
So this company is a Christian company.
Okay.
The owner of the company is a huge believer, and he actually right now he's left the company to his son and daughter and gone into full-time ministry.
Oh
But
wow.
when I first got there, he was still actively in the business. And there was a sign in the front when you walked in the front door of their main office, by the secretary's desk, that says "Need prayer." And if someone
Hmm.
came in and just a client or customer and said, "Oh yeah, I need prayer," the owner of the company will come from upstairs and come down and pray with the client or customer.
Oh wow.
And I was like, wow. And the young lady that interviewed me, she was walking me around and giving me a tour, and it had a plaque on the wall that said "Straight Street" or "Thank you for your dedication to Straight Street." And I asked her what Straight Street was, and she told me that the owner of the company would hire men that were recently released from prison and let them work in the warehouse and kind of give them a second chance. So he'd let them work in the warehouse. If that worked out, he'll let them move up the chain. And a lot of the salespeople at that time that were making over $100,000 a year came from Straight Street. And I was like, this is exactly where I need to be.
Wow. How cool is that? Well, it's great when you
It's
can find someone that does match up with your principles and your I guess ideas of the world and that kind of thing. How
yes.
great is that? Um, okay, so you get in with them. How do you make the transition to I guess what would now be design squad,
Yes.
right? But it's how did you go from that to going like, okay, well, I'm gonna go out on my own.
So very crazy story. So I worked for the company. I had lots and lots of clients. I went out and found investors and realtors to do business with. And so that was my job, to go out and find business. And
Mm-hmm.
at this time, they were normally just working with homeowners that would call and say, "Hey, I need some new floors." So I went out and kind of created this whole department where we were reaching out to people that buy flooring or over and over again or need it for their listings to look better whenever they put it on the market. And I met a home stager. His name was Jason Maxwell, and amazing guy. And he had at that time the largest home staging company in Dallas Fort Worth. It was he was my client because he also did renovations. So he would buy flooring from me, and we would do the floors, and he would renovate the whole house, and then he would stage. So he kind of had a two-part business,
Mm-hmm.
and he was one of my really good clients. And we staged a house for him, or we did the floors, and he asked me to come over to his warehouse. And then when this is when it clicked to me that this is really a business. So I go over to his warehouse and there are aisles and aisles of artwork and pillows, and it looks like a department, like a home store.
Hmm.
And I'm overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And he kind of told me about what he did, and I was just blown away by everything that he was doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm already really doing this for people, but I never thought of it as a business.
Hmm.
Well, about a month or two after this visit with his warehouse, he kind of has a life change, closes his business, and moves back to Arkansas with his parents. So at this time, I know a lot of realtors that use his business, and they're like, hey, we don't have a stager. What are we going to do? Oh my God. And they're freaking out. So I was like, I can help you with that, not knowing the business side or any
Wow.
of that stuff. I just kind of volunteered, and people started using my service, and I, created a company. This is it was almost like when people say fake it till you make it, but I was confident that I could do it. I
Yeah.
just told people, this is what I'm doing now. So, and
Wow.
then it word of mouth. So, one realtor, I would do a job for them, and then they would tell their friends, "Oh, call Nikki. Oh, I have a problem. Call Nikki," and that's how just really how everything was created.
Wow.
And it
Talk about an open
just
door.
it was an open door. It really was. And I talk to Jason all the time. He is super supportive of my business, and I just tell him I'm so grateful, not that he just left the area, but he did create an opportunity for me.
Wow. Huh. And so I guess when you first started, were you sort of having to do both the job at the flooring place and this at the same time? Or was there already immediately enough inquiry and work that you could just full blown, full time into this staging?
No, I did work for several years, about 3 years on both. So
Okay.
the owner of our company was and is an investor, and he used my company for once he found out that I was staging, and I asked him if it was okay. He said no problem. So I would stage houses for him. He knew, I would do it after my hours. I would go and stage houses. I'd be up all night, getting U-Hauls and doing all. This is when I in the beginning, um, moving furniture and just doing everything that I need to do, kind of off clock. And he was fully supportive of everything. The business grew pretty rapidly,
Hmm.
and 2017. No, I'm sorry, it was 2017, October 2017. He came to me and said, Nikki, I hear everybody's talking about your business. So a lot of investors would use me, a lot of realtors. And he said, it's growing so rapidly. And God told me that that's what you need to be doing. So I'm just gonna let you go. And then you'll be doing that full time. So I got fired.
It's like you don't even know how to take that for a second because you're like, oh wow, that's so great. God said this is what you need to be doing, and then
Yes.
you're fired, which sounds like such a negative.
Sounds
But
like a total negative. And at this point, totally loyal to this company, and I am devastated. I don't know how to react to this. news that he's giving me. And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to give you a going away party." And I'm like, "Going away? You're firing me!" Like I am all in my emotions. So I did not know how to take it.
Uh,
And he was like, "No," he's like, "Nikki, I believe this is the way you need to go." So it took me a couple of months to, first of all, get used to not having a check every week.
yeah,
Because that's your security, everybody's security,
right.
whenever they're starting their own business venture. So you know that most people have a full-time job and they're so afraid to leave their companies, and
And their
they're like,
comfort,
"Oh no,
right?
I'm not going to be able to sustain my lifestyle."
Yeah,
That's a big fear. And that was really kind of where I was at that moment. I was afraid of that. I was like, "Oh, I have to make this work now. I have to make it work." And that's kind of what pivoted to where we are today.
yeah. And you had the twins too, right? So you
Y-
had to
yes.
provide stability and that extra
Oh,
pressure.
yes. And the twins were in college at this time.
Oh, they
They
were in
had just
college at
got
this time.
they had
Oh,
just got
wow.
to college.
So how old are they now?
They are 30. They are
Wow.
30.
Can you believe it?
I cannot. That's crazy.
Did you only just have those two?
I have three
Okay.
daughters. So one
Okay.
that's kind of right behind her, right behind
Okay.
them.
Wow.
So yeah, this is the at this point. I think all three were in college when this happened. Yeah,
Okay. So maybe the pressure wasn't as much as it would have been if they were,
right.
little
If they
ones or
were
something.
smaller.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
when you started doing staging, were you fully confident in your styling ability at that time, or were you sort of just filling? Like I know you said you could do it, but were you confident in your ability to style these places, or did you just know that this was a service that was needed and you were jumping on the opportunity?
Yeah, I think that I was pretty confident at this point that I knew what to do to make the house sell. So interior design and staging are totally different things. Interior design, and I tell a lot of people that really don't get the difference. Yes, it looks interior design is very personal. It's personal
Hmm.
to homeowners. So if I come in and say, I'm the homeowner and I love purple, well, I as a designer am going to make sure I put purple in that design. But for home staging, it needs to be what I call real estate vanilla. So it needs to
Hmm.
be appealing to the most buyers. It needs to look kind of neutral and have a mix of styles, because everybody's not going to like one style. So it needs to kind of be what we call transitional so everybody can like it. So at this point, I was very confident that I could make a house look appealing for the most number of people,
Hmm.
because using some design elements, but also, or like some trendy things, but also making it per, livable or imaginable for a family to come in and say, "Oh my gosh, I gotta watch movies on this couch for movie night," or "This is
Hmm.
where we're gonna have our dinners." So that's kind of the thing that I was trying to do, was paint the picture for the buyer. And
Right.
at this point, I was pretty confident that that is what my company was doing, because we were getting amped up and pretty busy at this point. I was doing maybe 2 to 3 staging jobs a week, which at that time was crazy busy. And a lot of companies, that's kind of their peak. Like that's what they want to do.
Hmm. And most of I guess what you would call your clients or customer base was like real estate agents, right?
Yes, real estate agents and flippers, real estate investors.
Okay, so you'd have some independent people as well.
Oh yes, lots
Okay.
of real estate, and Dallas market is really strong for the real estate investor. Um, these guys are knocking it out of the park. They're really busy here, and if you only serve the real estate investor world, you could be busy. You don't even need realtors, because investors keep you busy.
Wow. And it hasn't slowed down, has it?
Oh no. Oh no. This market is very strong. This is probably one of the strongest. I think Denver and Dallas are kind of comparative, and these are the two strong markets, real estate markets.
Now, when you started staging these homes, did you like? I know you're not doing it like you said. It's not like an interior design um, perspective. It's that blank slate for people to come in and kind of imagine what they would do to the space. You're just sort of making it look nice but neutral. Did you have at that point like I don't know if a design philosophy is quite what I'm trying to say, but more like did you have a like a background or did you study at all in design or anything like that, or was this all just sort of intuitive?
No, it was all natural. I would go online and kind of take some color courses, something, some free things that you can take online. I would study a little bit of color. I would take maybe an hour course and you get a certificate at the end, like something really simple. But
Hmm.
for the most part, it was nothing traditional. When you think about traditional interior design studying, I didn't do any of that. So all of it's kind of natural. And I tell people that, and I know a lot of interior designers now that are practicing that have not, but it used to be kind of frowned upon when people would call themselves an interior designer and they didn't have the formal training.
Hmm.
Um, but for me, I feel like it's a natural gift. You either have it or you don't. I know that some things can be trained, but you have to have a natural gift for it.
Hmm. Have to have an eye for
Yes.
design. Yeah.
Definitely.
So as you're doing, so it's called Design Quad, right?
Yes,
That's
design
the name
quad.
of it. What's behind the name? Anything?
So quad, I used to be, when we first started, I was in style staging. So I was a staging company. That's kind of all I did.
Hmm.
And then as the company grew and people would still call me for flooring, they'd say, "Hey, Nikki, I need carpet." I'm like, "Okay, I'm not with the company anymore." But they'd say, "Oh, but I only trust you," so I would still do floors. So they're like, I don't want anybody else to talk to my clients about floors. I only trust you." So then flooring added to the name. So I didn't want to put install staging and flooring. So that was one of the things where that was incorporated in our business.
Hmm.
And then it started adding on to other things. So we started, after flooring, we started doing full remodels, and remodeling was in there. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to change the name again. And then the
You have to
last
keep
thing
adding
was
words.
keep adding words like
Yeah.
and interior design. So we would ask, people would ask us, I just need you to come in and, help me pick out my furniture, pick out my paint colors, pick out my um, tile selections. So those kind of things came in. So I mean, okay, we do four things. We do staging, we do design, we do flooring, and we also do remodels. So I was thinking about 2 weeks straight about a new name. I was like, what can we call it? And I'm just agonizing over it. I said, we do four things, but they're all based in design. What could I name this company? And I wrote a list of maybe 200 things, and I hated everything. I called my sister and I'm like, I need a name for my company. We do design, we do four different things. What can it be? And she said, the Design Quad, and hung up. I was like,
that's like
that.
a that's like mic drop over the phone.
Yes, she might drop me. And I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I come up with that 2 weeks ago? So that's how we became the Design Quad. We
So you said
we have
that was your sister?
my sister. She
Does she
is
still hang it over your head that she named your
oh
company?
oh yes. And she's full of ideas. Like I can call her now and say, hey, I need a name for a new company, and she will come up with it super fast. We do a lot of business together. So
Hmm.
we have a what we do, a vision board party every year. We're really big on saying what you want, manifesting, seeing your life how you want it to be. So we
Hmm.
do a huge vision board party every year, and we have a blast. But we do a lot of business stuff together.
On the Wall is brought to you by Milton King, the trusted partner for exquisitely crafted luxury wall coverings. Milton and King's trade program is designed to make your creative process seamless, providing special trade only benefits, including complimentary sampling, early access to new collections, and exclusive pricing structured to enhance your business success. To assist with your projects, you'll have the flexibility to curate your own custom swatch book, tailored specifically to your design needs. With dedicated customer support every step of the way, our trade program is here to elevate your design vision and simplify your journey from inspiration to installation. Ready to join a partner who understands your craft? Visit miltonandking.com to apply for your trade account today. Milton and King, your vision, our craftsmanship.
So at some point, as you're doing Design Quad, um, where do the opportunities come from? Because you've done a little bit of television too, right? You've been on certain shows, like home shows and things like that.
Yes,
How do
yes.
those opportunities come about to where you go from just doing this for home investors and real estate people, and then all of a sudden, where does the entertainment aspect come into all this?
So I think just word of mouth. So the first show that we did, so we were going to do a show right before COVID, and we were contacted by a network. I think they're the creators of House Hunters, and it was a production company, and they said, hey, we have this show idea, we're going to try to see if we can cast you guys, but it started off as 100 companies, and so there are 100 staging companies across the country, and the show concept was called Stagers USA. And then they narrowed it down. They said, okay, we're going to start off with these 100, we're going to go through, sort through everybody, and we're going to narrow it down to three companies. So we go from 100 down to about 50, and we made the next round. We're like, okay, this is great. No, don't want to get too excited. And then they narrowed down to 15, and we made the next 15, the next round. We're like, okay, well, this is getting pretty serious. So we have a visit. We had to turn in a video about, kind of day in the life, turn in a video, and then we made it to the next round of 10. And then we get a meeting with the production company. They come out and kind of meet everybody, see our personalities, and we made it to the final three that were going to be on the show. This is right before COVID.
Hmm.
And the network shut the show down. So we're like, oh God, and this was going to be on HGTV. So about 2 years later, a client of ours, a set of twin guys that we've done staging before, they do new construction. They called and said, hey, Nikki, we're going to be on this show on HGTV and we want you to be a part of it. Well, I already got my heart broke before COVID for
Yeah.
this show. So I was like, well, I'm not going to get too excited about it. It's okay. Well, just let me know what you need me to do. So about a week later, I get a call from that said Canada, and I was like, "Oh, this got to be spam," and it was the
Hmm.
network. So HGTV called and said, "Hey, we have the guys, Chris and Calvin. They said they want you to be on the show," and so we ended up being on the Buy It or Build It show, all the 6 episodes of their season.
Mm.
That was just kind of, somebody we knew. And the next opportunity, I think they were filming in Dallas and they needed a staging company. And I didn't even realize that it was going to be on TV. That just a client hired us for a staging. They said, "Hey, we have this house," and just like a regular job. But when the crew got there to stage the house, there was cameras there, and it was actually going to be on TV. So that was a kind of a surprise. So those were two shows we did, and another opportunity, the show that we're currently on A&E. Um, this came through kind of the HGTV thing, but a PR company that saw us on the Chris and Calvin show reached out and asked us if we wanted to do zombie house flipping in Dallas, and we did 6 episodes of their last season. So just kind of word of mouth, and then it grew from there. There's about 3 shows pending right now that are being worked on. So it's exciting, but it's kind of surreal. You just you don't believe that this could be happening out of you know where you started.
Yeah. So it wasn't anything that you sought out in the beginning. It was just something that sort of came to you because they were looking for stagers.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So how has that experience been like in terms of, obviously we know that you know, TV isn't necessarily real life.
Right.
And things are cut and edited and shot in ways that are further entertainment value and things like that.
Yes.
What are some of the differences, if any, that you find between just having a normal staging gig and something that's done for one of these shows, aside from just the presence of cameras, obviously?
Well, I think we had two different production companies. So I'd say the production company that did the shows on HGTV, you can tell that they are very strict. So that was a longer film day. We can stage a house in an hour. So our normal work day looks like we do 6 vacant properties a day.
Hmm.
That's every 5 days a week. So we're pretty fast when it comes to this stuff. We know what we're doing. We do it every day. That's not anything that they have to tell us what to do. But when it comes to TV, it's much longer because they're shooting each piece of what's happening, and we could do things 2 or 3 times. So it just makes your day longer. It's a fun experience, but it is a lot different than our normal work day.
Yeah, so they slow you down quite a bit.
Oh yes,
So they got to get
quite a
the
bit.
right shot, the right lighting. You have to
Yes.
resay lines here and there, and things like
Y-
that.
Yes, it is.
Uh,
It's definitely a process, and just
do
I
you
know
enjoy
that
it
their
though?
standard is high, so they want it to be perfect.
Yeah. Do you enjoy that process at all?
I do, I do. On the A&E, I can say the A&E network production company was much more laid back. It almost felt like a normal work day. They didn't, kind of tell us to do things 2 or 3 times. But I'm mic'd up, and they get some interaction with me and the other cast members. But for the most part, it went like a normal day. So I feel like there's probably different standards for different networks, but I
Hmm.
really enjoyed all of the TV experience.
Do you notice any difference in the like influx of business at all from having exposure on TV?
Yes, absolutely. And just opportunities. So um I teach a design trends class for realtors, and I think that these classes are packed. And I think that
Hmm.
when the people that are putting the classes on put Nikki as featured on HGTV, that makes people come. And so we are getting more business from those realtors and those opportunities because of the TV situation. So I do see a direct connection to how TV can help your business,
Hmm.
because it gets you more open doors. So people are willing to, talk to you more about what you do and send business to you because now you're the authority. You've been on TV.
Right.
Mhm.
You do have so much going on. Like you, you're doing the staging, you're doing the television, you're doing now. You're telling me you're doing these classes. What else do you have going on that you're currently involved in? It
So
seems like
much
I just want to know like when you sleep.
all the time. Oh, I love to sleep. I have a lot of help though. I do have a lot going on. I build houses, so I was about
So you're doing
20.
construction as well.
I'm doing new construction. So about 5 years ago, I started building houses. My
Wow.
cousin kind of helped me with my first one, and then we just kind of went from there. I enjoy building. That's probably something that I will be doing, continue to do. But that is something that it takes a little bit of work, because you have to line up the contractors. But once you got the process down, it's really very easy. um that I have that going on. And recently I have just met these incredible people, um 3 other designers, or people in the design world. So a painter, an artist, an interior designer from New York, and a product designer from Corpus Christi that created Wugs, the rated rug, and we are call ourselves the Design Besties. And on Saturday, we did our first project together, which was a middle school teachers lounge.
Oh wow.
A PTA member reached out to me, and I don't know her. She just saw that I, have my warehouse sale, and she said, "Hey, do you have any free or cheap furniture for a teacher's lounge?" And
Hmm.
I wanted some more information. I said, "Hey, can you send me some pictures?" And then I knew that everybody would be here for the luncheon, for our luncheon together. So I asked my friends, "Hey, do y'all want to help me do this middle school lounge, do it a makeover?" And they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we started, figuring out how we wanted to design it. Robin helped with the design. I picked out the furniture. Our artist did the artwork. Our product designer did a wug. And so we just brought all of our talents together and created this crazy remodel for this middle school lounge. The internet is going crazy over this thing because everybody has a school that they think needs this
Mm-hmm.
this makeover. And so that's my latest thing, the Design Besties, and we're probably going to be going to other schools across the country. So
Wow.
this is super exciting because it's a really good give back.
Yeah. I mean, like it just seems these things kind of just pop out of nowhere all the time.
Yes,
Like,
they do. They do.
and so now you've got another thing called Design Besties. Um,
Another thing.
how does Design Besties? Obviously, that's more of a interior design makeover type of thing. So
Yes.
that's I guess that would be what really differentiates it from Design Quad, right? Like it's
Yes.
because Design
Yes.
Quad is still doing staging and new constructions and that kind of thing. And like, how do you separate these things? How does Design Besties? How does that just not become part of Design Quad? How do you sort of
Well,
divide these
since we
different?
all have our own businesses, it probably won't interact or intervene with anything else that's happening because
Mm-hmm.
design quad really runs itself. So the stagers are staging, the flooring guys are doing floor jobs every day. We have the remodel department does about 3 to 4 remodels a month. So all of this stuff, and then our designers we have 4 designers on staff that just kind of do design jobs all the time. So all of that is running itself. That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
how I got into new construction because I was like, hey, I don't really have to be in the business every day. What else can I do? And I started doing the new construction stuff. So I think Design Besties will kind of go hand in hand with what I'm already doing.
Mm-hmm.
We travel together already. So this is kind of just a thing that we'll incorporate when we have some extra time. Oh, we'll fly to this city, redo a school um, teachers lounge on the weekend and then come back. So I don't imagine that it'll be too crazy, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll never know.
Wow. And so, wow, let's just say you have so much going on.
I know.
So how did Milton and King get on your radar? How did that come about?
So I have a PR company, Jones and O'Malley. They are based in LA, and they have these great relationships with brands.
Mm-hmm.
They are actually the ones that kind of connected me with the A&E show on the Zombie House Flipping show,
Mm-hmm.
and they introduced me to Milton and King. They said, "Hey, we have this wallpaper company that has a location in Dallas. Do you just want to stop by and meet them?" So that's kind of where the introduction started. And I can tell you that of all the companies that I've ever worked with, I feel like they have the best people at Milton and King. I'm just in love. I told everybody in the back where the production is. I said, "Y'all just give me a task, I literally work here now. I've been here so much. Y'all know me. Like I'm moving in."
So yeah, you came by and had a look at everything, and like was wallpaper something that you had incorporated a lot before, or was it something that was sort of new on your
No,
in
when
your
we do
toolkit, or?
remodels, I've done wallpaper before, so we've done a lot of vacation rentals, and we
Hmm.
always use wallpaper for vacation rentals just because it gives it some life. It Vacation rentals to me, when you go in them and there's just furniture there, it's kind of boring and it needs some sort of punch and some sort of fun aspect to it. So we
Hmm.
use a lot of wallpaper there, and then remodels. So I did a huge 8,000 square foot remodel in Fort Worth, and I use wallpaper in probably 4 of the 5 bedrooms because I think it's super important, especially in just different ways. So I love a closet with a wallpaper on the ceiling. That is my favorite thing to do. It's unexpected. People don't think that they'll walk into a room and say, they'll look up and say, "Oh my gosh, that just adds the perfect punch to the
Hmm.
room." So we use a lot of wallpaper, but I never heard of Milton and King. And when they made the introduction, I was like, why don't I know you guys? And went over and met Richard, and it's just been like, I love and adore everything about Milton and King. It's been great. So I had wallpaper in my office for 6 years, and it was just something that I ordered from overseas. I'm not sure if
Hmm.
I Love Wallpaper, I think was the company. And I was like, oh yeah, this is cute. And then when I met them, I was like, I need all new. I need to redo everything. So we have been working on that. Our wallpaper is complete, so I have to share my pictures with everybody. But it has been
Yeah,
just the convenience of it.
once you start, it's hard to stop because you
Oh,
can
I
see
want to
how
do
much you can
everything.
transform everything.
I do. I want to do everything, and I have 2 projects coming up next month in November. For the Habitat for Humanity, I have 2 single moms. They're getting their houses built, and we're going to furnish them. But I'm also doing wallpaper in their laundry rooms, and then one lady was kind of deciding between two, and I'm going to do her her primary closet ceiling in the one that she was really leaning towards, but she chose another one for the laundry room. And she just thinks I'm doing one room. So this is going to be a good surprise.
Oh, wow. Now, I want to get into that, but before I do, can you just to explain? You did this thing at the Milton and King showroom in Dallas, where you
Yes.
did this lunch and learn. What was that, and what was like the purpose of it, and how did it go? Because that was just
So
last
it
week,
went,
right?
oh my gosh, this was on last Friday, a week ago today. It was amazing. So basically, um, one thing that I know a lot of interior designers are not using, I don't think not using Milton and King, but haven't been introduced to them properly. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's lots of designers that I know. We can get them together. Let's invite them over to the showroom so they can see everything. So they can see the showroom, they can see production, and see how easy it is to work with you guys. And so that's how I got started. We invited about 30 interior designers from the area, and it went amazing, and everybody that came enjoyed themselves. They loved the product. They loved meeting Richard, and he kind of explained the whole process, the background of the company. And I think that was a big hit. We had a great time, but most of all, these are some amazing designers that he met, so he will definitely see the benefit from that.
That's so great. How I would imagine, like by now, the number of years that you've worked in Dallas, and being born and raised there, and doing the staging and interior design. Do you find that it's a very like is it a close community of designers? Like does everybody kind of know everybody there?
Yes, I think so now. So I didn't consider myself really a designer until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was asked to come and speak at the Dallas market about vacation rentals because I've done probably 100.
Hmm.
There was a company that came to Dallas a couple of years ago and asked me to do 56 apartment units for Airbnb. And I was like, okay, yeah, not knowing what I was getting myself into, but that was kind of the start in my vacation rental world.
Uh-huh.
And I had never, up until that point, I was just thinking, oh, I'm just a stager. I'm not a designer. I'm not formally trained, so I kind of separated myself from the designer world. And I was invited to come and speak at this summit, and I kind of that's when I really connected with the design world. And then I'm seeing, oh, they're all friends. They're all, everybody knows each other. They support each other. So it is a great, great, great community of designers here in Dallas. And I think all of the country, if designers are really involved in their community. So there's a couple of associations, the ASID and um, Interior Design Society. They are, if they're involved in those worlds, they have lots of support. They have people that they can lean on, and I just feel kind of connected to them now. At first, I kind of put myself outside of their world.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the Habitat for Humanity. There's been, in the course of our conversation, some references to the community. You mentioned how the teachers lounge that you're doing is a great sort of give back project. It seems like it's important for you to um, do, I don't know if charity is the right word, but sort of, that whole giving back to community and giving of your time, outside of maybe your normal, standard business that you do from day to day. Can you speak to that a little bit? Maybe some things that you've been involved in, and what it sort of means to you.
Yes. So this is the most important thing to me, I believe. So our company motto is inspire, create, serve. Serve is, I think, should be first because we do a lot of community service work. We do a lot of volunteering, and we get our clients involved. So we have the our administrative assistant's job is to find 4 projects for us and our clients to do every year. So we have once a quarter, we're doing a service project for the company and for our clients. And we invite our clients and they love it. They are like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought to come over here and volunteer. I've never heard of this charity. So that person's job is solely to set up, send out emails, get volunteers to go and volunteer at whatever the project is. We help a lot of places kind of in between those times. We have a ministry called Exodus Ministries. It's basically an apartment complex of ladies that are recently released from prison or rehab. They live there with their children. So we go and set up their Christmas trees in their atrium for Christmas. We do coat drives. We do all kinds of stuff for them. So that's kind of our not our 4th thing a year, but that's kind of an all ongoing thing. We teach classes there. My mom's taught a sewing class there. We are super involved at this place. But there's also there's a shelter with women and children that's usually about 150 people a day that are there. And I'll get a menu together and say, hey, friends on Facebook. I need somebody to bring a brisket. I need some beans. I need corn, and I
Mm-hmm.
need you to make it. I need you to bring it and help me serve. So we'll have all these volunteers that'll be there with their food and we'll serve dinner or lunch. And it is a big deal for us to make sure that we are taking care of people that, you know, don't have the opportunity or means to take care of themselves. That is a huge thing for me.
That is so great. I mean, that's such a beautiful use of your talents and your time. I guess it really sort of brings it back full circle to you getting involved with the flooring company based on principles, and here
Yes.
you are, having your own, um, being active with your own principles, in your own way with things that you're the head of, which is really, I don't know. I think you should be commended for that. I think that's really great.
Thank you. Yes, it's a big thing. And when I was young, my mom would take us to different things to volunteer, and I was thinking, why is she always helping people? I never understood it. But when I, as an adult, I know now, I'm like, she cared. She really cared about those people. But I didn't get it then because I was like, why would you be giving these people our money and we don't have money? Or why
Mm-hmm.
would you help these people find a job? And it just did not register to me what she was doing and why that was so important to her at that time.
Yeah. Well, bless you for all the work that you do. That's really great.
Thank
Um,
you.
if there's anything that you want to highlight, any of these organizations or anything, you can email me the links and I'll make sure to put them in the show notes so that if anybody wants to become involved or anything like that, we can put that in the show notes so that people can get involved, which I think would
Oh,
be really great. Um,
yeah.
that pretty much was everything at the moment. Was there anything that you wanted to promote? Anything that you're doing, or where do people find you if they want to, look you up or see what you're doing? How do people get in touch, or what do you want people to pay attention to at the moment?
Yeah, just follow us. We are on Instagram at the Design Quad like four. We always have something going on. Like we are, we're busy, busy, busy. I think that one thing that we really want people to know is, designers and stagers can work together. We are basically the same community. I think I've seen it separated so long now that I'm involved on the other side. Um, I feel like there should be more collaboration between the two worlds. Just the design community has so much to offer to the staging community, and I feel like more collaboration could help.
It could only be a good thing.
Hmm.
Amazing. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast with me. I've really enjoyed the conversation and learning all about everything that you're doing. It's really great. Hopefully we can stay in touch and talk again soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.